What's going on, my crazy Sixer fanatics? Thanks for stopping back in for another daily pod with your daily 76er discourse. Guys, like, comment, and subscribe because if you leave a comment or two, we read more than a few, guys. We read all of your comments. And today we got to have a conversation about who this team is trying to be and who this team really will become. There are two different Philadelphia identities going on throughout the Sixer locker room, and it's pretty obvious. There's a Joel Embiid-led team, and then there's a Tyrese Maxey led squad. The reason these two squads don't necessarily get along, and the reason these two squads necessarily aren't on the same page, they play two totally different brands of basketball. Joel Embiid likes to play slower paced basketball, more possession for possession, get you to the free throw line, get the other team in foul trouble, and really make the most out of every offensive trip. The Tyrese Maxey-led offense is fast-paced, run and gun. You get more shots up than your opponent, and you make sure you play with more force, more speed, and more adrenaline than your opponent can withstand for 48 minutes. It's two totally different identities on how to win the game and how to bring the offensive pain. So what will be this team's offensive identity? Will they go back to what's been working? When it is working, it's been working. The Joel Embiid-led offense, you give Joel the ball, you tell Joel the ball, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to give you 30. He's going to give you more points than minutes when Joel is healthy. And when you give Tyrese Maxey the ball, and you tell Tyrese Maxey, this is your offense, last season, there was no reason to believe that it's going to be successful this year outside of giving Tyrese Maxey pieces that allow his offensive game and his play style to shine. Guys, the offensive identity for this squad is definitely going to be what everyone said it's going to be. Nick Nurse has commented on it. Paul George said they need to do it. And Tyrese Maxey has seldomly said this is what he wants the offense to be. He wants it to be faster. He wants it to be a little more aggressive. He wants the pace to be picked up. And he wants to make sure that they are attacking on the fast break. Why does this not make sense for this Philadelphia 76er squad? You still got an older Paul George. You still have a Joel Embiid. And these are still two huge max contracts. You were looking for not only them to be big parts on the defensive end, but you definitely paid those guys because of their offensive ability. And they just don't align and they don't click with a faster paced offense. They don't align and click with a higher tempoed offensive initiated by a Tyrese Maxey. This offensive identity that is going to be initiated and integrated in training camp could cause a lot of problems for this team later in the season because you're telling the MVP or a MVP in Joel Embiid, not that he is the program, excuse me guys, but to get with the program. You're telling Joel Embiid that you need to get with what we're doing. And I'm not sure that Joel Embiid is the type of player where you plug him in and tell him to play. I think Joel Embiid is the LeBron James. You build your team around him. No matter how old, how big, or how injured Joel is, I think his game best is suited when you put pieces around his game so he can be the best he's supposed to be. This team and the way it's constructed, its identity screams Maxey. It's getting younger a little bit. It's definitely getting more explosive. It's definitely getting more agile. And the spacing does not seem to be a priority. Spacing is a priority for a Joel Embiid-led team. And with Joel not going to be there for training camp, he won't be ready for the start of the season. He won't be ready for training camp. And the rumors that we're hearing is December. You can expect a healthier, a game-ready, and a more prepared Joel Embiid. This Sixer team is going to have about a month and a half of NBA play without Joel. Maybe without Paul George too. Which means that everything that they'll be building, the foundation that they'll be winning and losing on, will be Tyrese Maxey's, will be Nick Nurse's. I guess will also be Jared McCain's. And that offense, guys, may not suit Joel Embiid because there won't be many mid-range touches. There won't be many post plays drawn up. And Joel Embiid is used to touching the ball every other trip down the court on offense. You know what Shaq says, man. You got to feed the big fella. Big fella's got to eat. And I'm not sure the way this team's designed, they're worried about a Joel Embiid feast. But one person that will be playing a huge role, you see his name, a gosh darn Bona, guys. Adem Bona. While Joel Embiid is absent, Adem Bona should be taking the role of the center, the role of the defensive anchor, and maybe the role of a 30-minute per game player. Because the rumors are is that Andre Drummond is also a movable piece the Sixers wish they could have gotten off a little earlier. They wish they could have traded Andre Drummond last week, 4 weeks ago, maybe a year ago. They wish Andre Drummond was gone, which means Adem Bona is the player, is the piece, and he's so gosh darn cheap, plus he's young, that this Sixer team could potentially grow with him for years to come. And his game seems to be grown. I've seen Adem Bona knocking down some catch and shoot three-point shots. Not saying that's in his offensive arsenal, but if it does become part of his playing package, Adem Bona is going to be a bona fide 30-point per game or 30-minute per game player. But the role he should be playing this season is exactly that, 30 minutes, guys, 30 minutes. Because there's not a center, there's not a power forward, there's not another big guy on this roster that you can pretend that can defend. I mean, Johnny Brome is coming from the SEC, where honestly he entered the draft one of the lowest verts possible. You're not sure about his rim protecting package. You're not sure about his rim protecting ability. Adem Bona is one of the best shot blockers, best rim rockers, and one of the most energetic and hustle players in the NBA. He fits perfectly with this run, gun, high-tempoed and fast-paced offense they are trying to initiate and trying to integrate. And with Joel Embiid not there for training camp, there's no reason to go possession for possession. With Paul George not there for training camp, there's no reason to slow down the offense. What they're going to be learning this summer and bringing into the season, it's everything that this team didn't have last year, which was pace, which was energy, which was effort, which was force. And the players that they have now, without Joel and Paul George, I think they would absolutely thrive under an offense like that. You got Kelly Oubre initiating fast break. Tyrese Maxey, BJ Edgecombe knows how to play fast. Jared McCain, who always is moving without the ball, who could probably succeed with more on and off ball movement on the offensive end. This team is going to rely on that new offensive play style that just doesn't necessarily fit Joel Embiid's play style. So how does Joel fit on this team? Imagine, right? A team with an offense that's clicking. Let's say this team is winning 67% of their games. Let's say their offense is averaging about 115 points a game and it's looking mighty successful, but not detestful. It's not looking like a bad offense. How do you throw Joel in? How do you throw a wrench into this entire system? Because you're going to have to change everything around. I don't see Joel sprinting from end to end just to fulfill a possession. I don't see Joel making it down on every offensive and defensive trip if this team is picking up the pace. Before last season, this team was on average getting into their offensive sets about 18 to 17 seconds left on the shot clock with the Tyrese Maxey, the Adem Bonas, the VJ Edgecombs, the Quentin Grimes. Guys, they should be getting into their offensive sets with like 21, 22 seconds remaining on the shot clock. I'm talking about getting into their offensive sets, getting shots up earlier into the shot clock, which is not something Joel Embiid has practiced, not something Joel Embiid is comfortable with, and then not an offense Joel Embiid has been successful with. He's better when you slow it down, when you let him initiate, when you let him be dominant, when you let him face up and jab a few times. And with the offense that they should be running without him, I don't know if he fits into the system and the scheme, especially if health is a question and success isn't there from the get-go. You're going to have to tell Joel to get with the program that's already been working, which I think, man, that is impossible. You don't tell LeBron to fit in with his players. You don't tell Kyrie to fit in with the scheme that's around him. You make schemes around great players. And unless Nick Nurse is going to have this team operating on two successful systems, the Tyrese Maxey run and gun system, the Joel Embiid slow it down and get to the free throw line, take possession for possession system, unless this team is going to be successful with two offensive identities, it's only a guarantee, man, that a trade will happen. Who will the Sixers trade for this season? Honestly, guys, that is a question that we all are going to need answers for as the season progresses. Because as the season progresses, you know there are a few pieces the Sixers are going to be looking to get off of immediately. Paul George should and will be one of those players the Sixers look to get rid of immediately. I think Joel Embiid, man. I think with the offense, I think with the identity, I think with the accountability and the culture that Tyrese Maxey is integrating, you're going to work, you're going to show up to work, and you're going to put in extra work. That's just something that Joel Embiid has not been known for. I'm not sure if that's something that Joel Embiid can get with the program with this late into the season after all of the success he's had in his career. It's like the same AI thing. You're gonna question me about practice. I'm one of the greatest players of all time. And you're going to dare question Joel Embiid about practice, about effort, about energy, about hustle. Joel Embiid played games with Bell's palsy. One eye, one leg, and half of an arm. And Joel Embiid still averaged about 25, 30 in the playoffs with Bell's palsy. I think it's going to be a very, very difficult season off of the court for this Philadelphia 76ers team to figure out who they will be on the court. Because it's all about chemistry, it's all about team camaraderie, and it's all about getting on the same page. And with Joel Embiid not being there for training camp, and this team definitely building and integrating an offense that best suits Tyrese Maxey, I think it's going to be extremely difficult for Joel Embiid to jump in with this team in mid-season and just get on their page. Because every season, Joel Embiid is the anchor for the team. You decide what you do based off of Joel. And this is the first season in many seasons where it's going to be different for this Philadelphia 76ers squad. So who will they be trading for? Whoever can match a Joel Embiid contract. Maybe Lauri Markkanen with some first-round picks to get off of Paul George. That way they have more rim protection. That way they have more space, more length, and more height. Trading for Lauri Markkanen and trading Paul George would be a perfect trade for those Sixers. I don't know if Danny Ainge is taking used and worn and damaged goods in Paul George. I'm not sure, guys. I'm not sure. But what I am sure about, you better like, subscribe, and comment. Make sure you leave a comment below, guys, because we're having daily discourse, daily discussions on what this Sixers squad is made of, what this Sixers squad is going to do. And if it was up to you, who would you trade Joel Embiid for? There's always a Zion Williamson, Joel Embiid trade up my alley, always on the table. But the contracts don't even match perfectly because Joel Embiid makes 55 and Zion makes 35. There's a $20 million discrepancy within a trade, so you can't just do a perfect one-for-one swap with draft picks. It is going to be so interesting to see how this team not only meshes, how they gel, but how they make it all work. Because you got one season and one season only to make this big three work because this team has two totally different identities. And hopefully, they can mesh well, they can gel well, and this Sixer team does well. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys, because every day we got your daily discourse, daily discussion, and your daily updates.